Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I'm Sirbhi Sardana and this is Season 3 of our Daily Answer Writing Initiative. This initiative runs in coordination with our website that is rajisacademy.com. If you click on the mains answer writing section here, you will see a list of questions and you can choose to write answers to any of the questions for improving your practice of answer writing for mains exam. The topic for today is Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This has been in news as the 10th meeting was there, 10th consensus meeting was there recently, it was held. So, the question for day 56 is, it is time to abandon the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty as it is beginning to look shaky. So, there are some doubts raised around the achievements and around the efficacy of this Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in controlling nuclear weapons. Comment on this. So answer in 150 words. Since this is a small answer, बहुत ही छोटा सा आंसर आपने लिखना है और comment आंसर है. We recommend that you add facts also, but you give a viewpoint also. And what will be your viewpoint? You will have to take a balanced approach. Whether you think that NPT is redundant now, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty अब किसी काम की नहीं रह गई है, or you think that no, it is still required and it has stood as a strong pillar for nuclear disarmament and it has a potential role to play in the future also. So that is up to you to decide, but taking a balanced view is very important. If you are writing in favor of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, then just also talk about what are the weaknesses of this particular treaty. As we have been seeing in news, a lot of editorials have been coming in newspapers. So talk about weaknesses, explain about NPT a bit, talk about its strengths. And for sure, if something is not happening in near future, something has not been declared by Government of India, then you cannot take a stand against that treaty. You cannot write a very negative answer. So in the end, you will for sure have to take a stand in favor of the treaty. So let's see how we'll proceed towards this answer. In the introduction, what you will do is you will explain about NPT, all the important things. When did it come into force? Why did it come into force? What were its objectives? So basically, NPT is an international treaty which was negotiated during 1960s to reconcile three competing objectives. Now, three competing objectives are there. Either you can list them down, 1 to 3 points, not in full sentences, just half sentences. The first one was controlling the further spread of nuclear weapons beyond P5 nations. P5 nations जो हैं permanent 5 members of Security Council, उनके अलावा किसी के पास भी nuclear weapons नहीं होने चाहिए. So this was the first objective, and the second is that whatever nuclear arsenal these 5 nations had, जितने भी इनके पास nuclear weapons थे, उसको कम करना था, to reduce the nuclear arsenal, and thirdly, to use nuclear power for peaceful purposes, for the development of mankind, for the development of human race. So sharing benefits of peaceful application of nuclear science and technology. So these three are like very easy to remember. These three objectives should be clear about NPT and they should be mentioned in your answer in a very short format. They should not take like more than 20 to 25 words. उससे ज़्यादा आपका introduction नहीं जाना चाहिए. Also, you can mention about that the treaty does not affect the right of state parties to develop, produce and use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Peaceful purposes के लिए, for example, nuclear energy for producing electricity. तो उसके लिए और for medical applications, तो उसके लिए कोई भी रोक नहीं है. Then you can talk about status of India. Again, last two lines are totally objective. These are like you have a choice whether to put them or not because the answer has to be very short. India is one of the only 5 countries that either did not join NPT or signed but withdrew. So India developed nuclear power after the coming in of all these 5 nations, all these P5 nations had already acquired nuclear arsenal. So India ने बाद में acquire किया था, which was seen by these 5 nations as a threat to their power. So now recently this 10th review conference of NPT was held. 50 years हो गए थे NPT को around in 2020, but the meeting could not be held, a conference could not be conducted because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So now 52nd year में conference हुई है. So what you can do is, this conference was held because there is this Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine where shelling is taking place. उसके आसपास बहुत सारी shelling और bombing activities हो रही है, and all world leaders are concerned that if nuclear leakage occurs, radiation leakage occurs from this power plant, then that radiation can spread to vast areas of earth and we can see a nuclear disaster just like we saw in the times of Chernobyl. So uske regarding the nations were very much anti-Russia, so Russia ने जो document था वो approve भी नहीं होने दिया. So what you can say is this United Nations Secretary General, he gave a very good statement that the world is now facing a nuclear danger that has not been seen since the height of the Cold War. So we are in those emergent times now. इतना emergency situation create हो गया, and in the background you can talk about why is it happening. Russia का जो military operation Ukraine में है उस वजह से this statement has come up, and then you can talk about the weaknesses of NPT in this regard. First of all, the consensus document, not many consensus documents have come since 1960 or 1968, since 1970 or 68 जब से NPT active है. So when only 4 of the 10 review conferences have concluded with a consensus document. इस बारी भी consensus document नहीं आ पाया. Russia was creating many obstructions. It did not like many of the things, so due to all those obstructions a consensus document could not be realized. The second is differences amongst members. Earlier USA, UK, Russia used to be on the same page. They used to hold nuclear weapons, but they used to be on the same page regarding their view about nuclear weapons all over the globe. But now Russia and USA stand against each other. Unke viewpoints nahi milte. The actions of Russia and US, they are very much anti each other. Then there were 2 treaties from which USA withdrew. First one was the anti-missile treaty in 2002, and there is this INF or intermediate range nuclear forces treaty. This was more recent, from which it was more recent. 2019 में USA withdrew from that before the pandemic hit us. So इन दो treaties ने USA ने withdraw कर लिया है after incoming of NPT. Even after signing NPT, USA has taken a step back from both of these treaties, जो कि उसके weapon systems को control करने के लिए थी. So since so this is one of the drawback. NPT has not been able to control that. Fifth one is that almost 13,000 nuclear weapons are now being held in arsenals around the world. 13,000 nuclear weapons हैं all around the world. So this is something that we are talking about right now. Scandinavian countries which did not have nuclear weapons earlier, they're trying to revise their defense policy because they think that if now they are realizing that if they will not have nuclear weapons, then they might be attacked by some country which actually has nuclear weapons. The UK has raised the cap on maximum number of nuclear weapons it can hold, and a lot of billions of dollars are spent by all these P5 nations on an annual basis to acquire and to improve their nuclear weapon capabilities. So such grim is the situation. Even because of even after the existence of NPT, these things have not been able to be these things have not come down. Now you have talked about the definition of NPT, you've given its objectives, you talked about the recent situation that is there, why is it such an emergency situation and what was happening in the meeting. Also you've talked about the weaknesses of NPT. So here your almost 75 to 80 words should finish, 75 to 80 words आपके cover हो जाने चाहिए body paragraph 2 तक. In the body paragraph 3, we will talk positively about NPT. हम बात करेंगे कि ये treaty अभी भी क्यों important है. Though a consensus document has not been reached, nuclear arsenal बढ़ता जा रहा है, but still let's put a light on the positive side of NPT. So you can start by saying that over the past 77 years, whatever efforts have been made, whatever global efforts have been made to control nuclear weapons, NPT has been a significant pillar to support those efforts. एक न्यूक्लियर पावर या न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स अक्वायर करने के लिए जो भी कोशिशें की गई हैं, एनपीटी उसके अगेंस्ट एक पिलर की तरह खड़ा रहा है. देन यू कैन टॉक अबाउट 2 to 3 अचीवमेंट्स. द फर्स्ट वन इज टॉक्स बिटवीन USA एंड रशिया. सो 13,000 न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स हैं, दैट्स ट्रू, बट अर्लियर USA and Russia alone had 65,000 nuclear arsenal. Now in around 1980s, now it's around 12,000. So only 4 countries have tested and developed nuclear arsenals since the incoming of NPT. They, all these P5 nations imagined or, forecasted that after a few years, at least 25 nations will have nuclear weapons. But due to this incoming of NPT and all the strict measures these countries have been taking, only 4 countries till date have acquired nuclear weapons, have tested their nuclear weapon technology, which are India, Israel, North Korea and Pakistan. The third is, recently in the conference, this Reagan-Gorbachev declaration was reiterated, and they said that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. So you can see from here that out of 191 member countries of NPT, most of the countries are in favor of giving up on nuclear weapons. They want these to come down on a global level, but yes, nobody is able to, nobody wants to take the first lead, nobody wants to be the first one to destroy their nuclear weapons, but countries do want a world order which is free of nuclear weapons. And these 77 years, they go back to this Hiroshima and Nagasaki incident of 1945. So NPT has been in existence since 1968. It's been 52 years, but 77 years they go back to the nuclear holocaust that occurred. In the conclusion, here in the italics, we've given a brief background about what happened at the conference. This the shelling that is taking place in that Ukraine nuclear power plant, Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. So a consensus was the parties tried to reach a consensus to stop all that, but Russia was obstructing. So here is the background. The entire answer is available on our website. In the conclusion, what you can also again reiterate upon the importance of NPT. Then this comment answer will finish as your viewpoint. So despite Russia's cynical obstructionism, the fact that all other remaining state parties were able to support the final document speaks to the treaty's essential role in preventing nuclear proliferation and averting the danger of a nuclear war. So NPT parties affirmed the need for action on arms control, proliferation crisis, expanded access to peaceful nuclear energy, science and technologies, especially among states of the global south. So that is a good news for India. Also, that all the parties except Russia, they were able to reach a common ground about the consensus document. That is remarkable. So NPT, though it looks shaky, it has not lost relevance. So you can conclude by saying that. Also, it is an essential pillar of international peace and security. Nevertheless, NPT has made the world safer and more prosperous for over 50 years. So you can conclude on this note, and hence you can say that no, it is not time to abandon NPT. In fact, it is time to strengthen it, to introduce more disciplinary measures, to be stricter towards countries which are not adhering to what the objective of NPT was, and also taking care of some developing countries who need nuclear weapons because of the security concerns, and moving together ahead towards a future where nuclear arsenal comes down gradually. So now the whole answer is there on our website rajayesacademy.com. You can go there and check the answer. The next question for tomorrow is, if you've seen this criminal justice OTT series, there was a situation created about around Indian prisons, that how an innocent person turns into a criminal slowly and gradually because of the conditions prevailing in Indian prisons. It also highlighted how bad bad or unhygienic conditions are prevalent in Indian prisons. This has been highlighted by National Human Rights Commission many times. Law Commission has given a separate report on prison reforms, and that stands as something that we as aspirants study a lot about, how to and what reforms to bring in Indian prisons. So the question has been framed, prison reforms were again in news. The OTT series Criminal Justice brought to light the problem of Indian prisons and explained how an innocent waiting for court's verdict actually turns into a criminal because of the prevailing conditions in Indian prisons. examine the problem of high ratio of under trials in Indian prisons, which is a very big problem because our judicial processes are slow. There is pendency of cases. There are millions of cases pending in the Indian judiciary. So what reforms do you suggest to improve the state of Indian prisons? Answer in 250 words. So the question is very simple, though it appears to be very long, and frame your answers around that, post that on our website, share those answers with us in the comment section. And if you still don't feel confident, wait for us, wait for our team till 9 PM tomorrow. We'll bring out an answer discussion on this question and let's see how will it turn out to be. So all the best, keep working hard, and I'll see you tomorrow with another discussion.